Hey everyone, welcome back to another edition of In Her Shoes. Today we are talking with Lisa Simone Richards. She is here. I'm gonna bring her on. Let me see here. Hi guys. Okay, she's coming on. So we'll wait a second. We're talking all about visibility and PR. Lisa, how are
Hey,
you?
love. I'm so excited we get a chance to connect again.
Yay, we finally made it happen. I'm so glad that we are here and chatting. So everyone, this is Lisa Simone Richards. She is amazing. We've known each other for a little bit now, maybe like,
It's like I feel like we've known each other for like maybe like 7 or 8 months, but it like feels way beyond that, obviously, because we just jive so well.
yeah, I mean, you are amazing. This woman is a firecracker, powerhouse woman. You are all about PR, visibility, and I wanted to bring you on because I think it's such an important aspect in life and business. Like, how visible can we be, right? How, when is the best time to get PR for your business, or what does it do to business, right, and in life? But before we dive into that, I want you to share kind of just like your journey and like why you got started in this arena, right? And what made you start your business.
It's okay. So how I got started, the truth about Lisa being interested in PR is like I always remember going through the baby albums at my mom's house, and there's a picture of like 3-year-old Lisa sitting in the snow on a mobile phone, or not a mobile phone, obviously it's the 80s, but like a little toy phone. So like I knew I was always destined for communications, but I wasn't sure on what angle. Fast forward to being something like maybe about 10 years old, 11 years old. I had a subscription to, do you remember the magazine Teen People?
Yes.
Okay, had a subscription. Jonathan Taylor Thomas was on, or not, no, this wasn't the Jonathan Taylor Thomas part just yet, but it's coming, Home Improvement fans. So I used to read Teen People magazine, and I saw you could write a letter to the editor, and I was like, how cool is that, that I can actually write a letter to them, and then it'll come back to me in a magazine. So like without my parents' help or anything, I totally just sent a letter. Fast forward 3 months, Jonathan Taylor Thomas in a red shirt on a blue cover of the magazine, and I opened it up and my letter was inside. And I just thought that was the coolest thing.
Wow.
So that was when I totally knew I wanted to be in the media, but I didn't actually want to be an editor. Like I've interned at a fashion magazine, I've done that Devil Wears Prada life, and it wasn't my jam. But when I was in university, I was in first year, and there was a girl I was having lunch with who was graduating. She was going to PR school. And this is how timely that I'm talking about it this week when they announced the Sex and the City reboot. This is when Sex and the City was huge, and Kim Cattrall made PR look really sexy. And I was like, I'd like to do that. That looks fun. So that's actually kind of how I got into publicity. I started off in fashion and beauty. Fast forward to 5 years. Now I have or not 5 years. I've been doing this since I was 18. But for the last 6 years specifically, I've had my own business where I'm supporting coaches and entrepreneurs with doing their own visibility and actually getting those kind of media features that they're seeing everybody else get, but wondering how they can do it too.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I love that story. How like when you were little, oh my God, like that is such an amazing event, right? That happened, like really shaped like who you are. I love stories like that because it makes people, like we always say, oh, like what did you do, or what did you dream about when you were a little kid? And sometimes like some people are like doing what they're dreaming, dreamt of, and then some people are like, I never did it, but like you had an event that actually like shaped your really like your identity and like who you are now, which I love. So let's like talk about, so you're working with coaches, you're working with leaders, you're working with entrepreneurs. What do you think like the biggest struggle, I guess? Because like not everyone, but I think a lot of people do want that media presence. And what do you find like the struggles in either the people that you're working with or like the people that you're talking to that they have? Like, is it that they want to get in the media, they don't know how, or just kind of share like what you're hearing and seeing?
I would say that there are two things. The first is that imposter complex. Like, yeah, I'm good at what I do, but who am I to get featured? Amy Porterfield's talking about marketing in Forbes. They don't need me. So I think a lot of what I come across first is that imposter complex. Who am I to put myself in the spotlight like that? And the truth is everybody started somewhere, just like social media, where we all started with our first follower. Like everyone had their first interview on television, their first magazine article interview, their first podcast, whatever it might be. So it starts with that first one. Like nobody had, like Tracy Tracy Anderson in fitness, or Jillian Michaels, or Amy Porterfield, or, you know, all those names we look up to in coaching, they weren't those names until they became those names. So, you know, this is just the beginning of your story too. So I think what's really important that I want everyone watching this to know is you are worthy, as long as you're like, you know, you have results in what you do, you're good at what you do, and you're on a mission of service, you belong in the media. So I just want to crush that one first. So once we get past the imposter complex of, okay, I actually do see myself getting my name out there with the Rachel Hollises, the next thing is actually, how do I do it? Because I think there's a myth that publicity is only for people who have a really pricey publicist doing it on their behalf. Like we hear celebrities have these people in their corner, and people must think it's probably pretty expensive as well. But the truth is, like, when you see someone get a feature in a magazine, like think back to when Kylie was on the cover of Forbes, like that wasn't paid for, that's editorial coverage. So there's a big difference between paying for an advertisement versus being interviewed for your expertise and sharing quotes. And that's when you can really shine as an expert and build that credibility, because you didn't pay for it. So it's actually a lot easier to do than you think. It's just a matter of knowing the right people and having the right hook. And no, I do not have a Rolodex full of contacts. I'm just really good at looking up the right people and figuring out who they are.
Yeah. And listen, like, and I think you've been in the game, you know, like a while now.
Literally, I've never done anything else for a career.
Yeah. So like, you know, your stuff, you know, and so how do you walk people through? Do you have like a process? Because I know like, you're like, are you in launch mode now, or like what is?
Yeah, so fun question. So, you know, as entrepreneurs and coaches, we're always evolving. So my next launch is coming up on February the 8th, where I'm going to be hosting my five-day Create Buzz to Get Booked workshop. So that's coming up in February. But really, you know, I love to drop in and teach people little nuggets like, hey, everyone who's tuning in tonight, let's share some news you can use. If you want to get featured on podcasts, have you checked out something called Matchmaker.fm, something I learned about recently that's kind of like the Tinder of podcasts. If you're looking for a contact's email address, have you installed a tool called hunter.io on your Chrome browser, because it will crawl a URL to help find a contact. So there are all these little like tiny tips and tricks that I love to drop for people, because all of a sudden they're like, and now I know how to find anybody's email address. And now I know how to find people to get onto their podcast. You know, just dropping those little nuggets is always really helpful.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Lisa. And what would you say, like, you know, because people, you know, are you in the sense, like, there's a lot of conversation now with like Clubhouse out, right? Like the whole, like, oh, give before you get. But then sometimes it's like, well, you do have to pitch yourself too. What are your thoughts around that whole, like, should you be giving, like you just gave tips, like amazing, right? But when you're pitching to the media and those contacts, like, is that necessarily true, or it depends on the, you know, the social media outlet or magazine or online, you know, podcast, whatever. Like, should we be giving before we pitch? Like, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, when it comes to pitching, whether it is a podcast, a television show, a magazine, whatever the platform is, it's actually really about value first. What does the audience care about? So a huge mistake that I see with a lot of coaches and business owners who are trying to get media exposure is, imagine I reached out to you, Kelly, and I was like, hey, Kelly, my name's Lisa, and I have a launch coming up, and this is my program, and I'm a coach, and this is how much it is, and this is where I live, and this is the kind of thing that I do. Would you like to have me on your show? Like, what value did I just offer you or anybody who's tuning in? Like, literally, I just made it all about me. However, if we positioned it as, hey, Kelly, my name's Lisa, and I know that you have a lot of coaches who follow you and they're struggling with how to get themselves out there. I would love to share with them 5 non-traditional ways to put themselves out there and collaborate with other people so they can get in front of their ideal client. By the way, I'm a publicist who's been doing this for 18 years. I've helped my clients go from $400,000 to $4 million a year. Would it be useful if I came on and shared some nuggets with your audience? Boom. Same ending at the end of the day, huge difference in positioning. So it all comes down to, how can I offer value? No one is trying to give you a free advertisement, guys. That's what you can pay for on Facebook and all those other platforms. But if you come with value of, like, you know, one of my clients I'm working with right now, Scott Aaron, who's a LinkedIn expert, we're pitching what are some of the 2021 trends for LinkedIn. It's not, hey, Scott has this program, would you like to write about him?
Yeah. And I think people make that, especially in podcasts, because I get asked, you know, can I be in your podcast? And I'm like, did you even listen to the podcast? Because it's a solo cast. Like, I don't do interviews. So it's like, so I think you're just kind of like, yeah, like nail that message home, because I think people also are doing the research, right, especially with podcasts, because I think people just like pitch, just like, you know, ask without really being like, you did it so beautifully and like, boom, mic drop, you know?
And you know what? I actually am trying to see how quickly can I pull up iTunes right now to see if I can even flip the camera around as if I use Instagram all the time, like I know what I'm doing. But to show you one really quick thing, because you just said someone pitched you when you're a solo cast. So when I'm working with my clients and we're looking for podcasts to pitch, like again, I'm here to give value. This isn't a pitch fest for Lisa. I want to serve your viewers. So I want to share one of the things that we do. So bear with me really quickly. I'm going to see if I can pull this up on iTunes. Keep this PG-13. So, okay, here's what I'm going to do now. Let me turn around the camera. Let's see if we can get it to actually focus on my iTunes screen. I have it on a stand now.
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So the first thing you should look at is, hold on. Sorry, guys, this is going to get a little creaky, but let me take you out. The first thing you want to look for is what is the release date of an episode. If something came out, you know, last in 2019, don't waste your time pitching them. They're not recording anymore. But the second thing I want people to look for is scroll to the left. You see where it says the names Dr. Steffi Coe and Dr. Jim Lower. That's the kind of thing you want to look for. Do they do interviews with other people before you go pitch them? Because that's such a basic mistake that people make. And all it took was 2 seconds for us to see when's the last time they released an episode and do they interview other people? Because if they do, okay, now it's a fit. Whereas if somebody did the research on your show and saw, oh, I never see her say with so-and-so, maybe she just actually does this on her own and doesn't interview other people.
Yeah. Oh my God.
So literally that took me 2 seconds of paying attention before I was able to figure out the answer.
Why do you think people do that, Lisa? Like, why is it maybe, and maybe it's not them, maybe it's their assistants. Like, what is it, just education, you think? Or like,
yeah, people are, I think, honestly, sorry, stay stable, Stan. Don't keep falling down. I think we're all doing the best we can with what we've got. You don't know what you don't know. So when you know these things, then you can do it properly. But I think it's the challenge is when you think about media, podcasters who are getting tons, hundreds of inboxes every single day, they just don't have the time to like try and be patient and sift through. I always say media don't necessarily work with the best. They work with the fastest. They work with the easiest. So if you can be fast and easy, the few things moms always ask me not to be, like you're a great contender to get media coverage.
Fast and easy. Oh my gosh, Lisa, you are hysterical. I love you so much. Let me ask you this. Is there, because I know there's like editorial calendars, right? Of, you know, when you should pitch, there's certain like things going on, but then if something comes up, right, in the media, like breaking news like last week, it kind of throws everything off. So do you go by, or would you advise like on getting like the editorial calendar? And I know it's like different, I guess, right? Or similar, right? For TV and for online magazines, like what
yeah. I think the first thing I'm sorry, I'm just trying to tweak the lighting without jarring this too much. The first thing I would pay attention to is there we go. I was thinking to the side. Pay attention to lead time. So how long does it take for something to go from idea to coverage? So with a podcast, you know, it's up to the host. It can be anywhere from like maybe a few weeks, a few days, but it could be as long as like 4 months. Yeah. With a print magazine, you're going to want to pitch an idea at least 3 to 4 months in advance. Again, with television, something can turn around. Something happens and it's live immediately. So it's just a matter of having a sense of that understanding and also being aware of what's a climate and what's a conversation and is there a way that I can fit into it. So I always think about when I was working more in the beauty space, and I had a friend who was an editor at Elle Canada, and she would say, I got some really good pitches for good ideas, but now's just not the time for them. And she just kind of puts them in a drawer, and when she gets back to it, 6 months, a year later, she gets back to it. So what's actually happening in the news right now that you could insert yourself in? Is there a recent study that came out that said how big the coaching industry is going to be, and you have tips on how to stand out in it? You know, what's happening in the news that you can tastefully offer your opinion on. And, you know, PR trends for 2021, for example, that's just paying attention to the fact that it's New Year's and people are talking about trends and New Year's resolutions right now. So just kind of pay attention to the climate and see where can I insert myself into that story. And that's a really good way to make sure that you're getting featured now versus later.
Yeah, amazing. I love that. And I love that you said, like, you can kind of insert yourself and like wrap yourself into whatever is going on. Like, where's the angle? Where's the hook? Like you said earlier, you know, there has to be angle, there has to be hook. And I like when you said fast and easy. That's hysterical because it's true. It's true because it's like, it's the media, right? Like it is a fast turnaround. you know, in some cases, right? I mean, look at last week, you know, we didn't do our interview when it was originally scheduled because quite honestly, like we were going to do it last Tuesday and look what happened. And, you know, both you and I felt like it's not the time, you know?
I mean, you think about like, there are a lot of things that are pre-scheduled, but right at the same time, Tiffany Trump tweeted, you know, happy birthday, Eric or Don Jr. or whatever. It's like, read the room, not the time.
Right, exactly. And, you know, and I love that we rescheduled because it's like, you know, it's going to go on deaf ears anyway. No one wants to, right? Like and I think that's so important. Such a good tip, Lisa. Anything else that you want to share? I know you have your launch. I want you to talk about, you know, your launch and what's going to be like, what you're going to do. You're going to obviously bring the tips like you're bringing them here, but tell us about like, is it a challenge you're doing up to the launch?
It's going to be, I think this is my 4th time running this workshop, and I love doing it every single time because the results that people get just from a free challenge are off the charts. So I run something called the Create Buzz to Get Booked workshop. And when you look at my clients who've become recurring experts on TV, like Pam went from never being on TV before to doing 30 segments in a year on Fox for fitness. When you look at people who are doing things like that, they have a pitch sheet. So it's like a 1-pager that says a little bit about who they are, the value that they offer, because remember, that's what we get to lead with, and how they can improve the lives of the people who are listening to them, watching them, whatever it is. So I actually teach a challenge where we make your pitch sheet. So literally at the end of it, you don't just have a book full of notes. You have a professionally designed sheet that you can send for speaking engagement, media opportunities, television opportunities. So it's going to be starting on February the 8th. So you guys have to hang on for a few weeks, but you can sign up at www.createbuzztogetbooked.com. And
I'll
again,
put the link in the notes too, in the
perfect.
comments.
Thank you. And like when we've done it before, one person, Jennifer, she hadn't been on television before and she booked NBC within a matter of weeks. Wow. So that was pretty cool. Someone got onto Pop Sugar. One client, she did 4 podcasts, I think. Like, it's just really, really cool to see what people are able to create when they not only like, you know, tune in and watch it and write the notes, but when they actually put it into practice.
Yeah. So someone's saying, is it only for fitness? No, you work with.
No, it's for health, fitness, wellness coaches, entrepreneurs. Hey, Sophia, I love seeing you here. And I know Sophia's doing some work and speaking as well. So yes, Sophia, if you're interested, 100p, it's totally going to be the right move for you.
Amazing. So so you work with all types of entrepreneurs, right, Lisa? Like,
I think so. For about 5 years, I specialized specifically in the health, fitness, and wellness industry. So I've noticed that, you know, there are a lot, when you see how big the online space is, I see that there's so many people who need the information that I'm giving out. So I still absolutely welcome health, fitness, and wellness people. And I want to make sure that I'm supporting the relationship coaches, the business coaches, the money coaches, like whatever you do to support people, your message deserves to be heard. So I just want to affect as many people as I can, because when you can get on some sort of platform and serve more people, like how cool is it to know that I've had a hand in affecting that much positive change through a ripple effect.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And I love that, like, honestly, because everyone needs you, you know, that is providing a service or product, to be honest, because it's like getting it out there in the masses. So,
well, you can't be the best kept secret and do well. Like, you have to get out there. So it's all about becoming that go-to expert and having people come to you.
And what do you think? Because I know a lot of people, right? I know you said like the imposter thing. Is it anything else that people feel like maybe not good enough, or they like shy away from visibility, like in your opinion?
I think people take for granted the skills that they have. And I honestly, I can even look at myself as an example. Like, even as we're on this call, I'm like, oh, well, to find someone's email address, you just pop this in, you do that, you send an email, and boom, you're on television. But we forget that we're so good at this and it comes to us so naturally, and it's not easy for everyone else. So I think a lot of the time we might be like, oh, well, is that really worth putting out there? Doesn't everybody know that? But like, they really don't. So don't take for granted how much information you have and how much people need it. Like, I mean, that's the entire reason you got into business.
Yeah, I love that, because it's like the simple things that you think are simple, right? That other people are like, huh, what? And I always like to say, like, there's people that are going to be like above you, and then also people that are not, you know, you're going to be further than all the time, like all the time. So I love that you just said that, because it's like, that's something simple that you're like, oh yeah, I do that all the time. Like, you didn't know that? I didn't know that. I'm like, I didn't know. So that's like huge, you know, and I've been in the media, you know, like, so it's like, I didn't even know that simple thing either. And I think it's also too, like, don't rest on your laurels either, you know. It's
100.
like, guys, like, even if you've been in the media, there's like, would you say there's like kind of different tips and tricks that you're still learning, or that, you know, you can
I
kind
think
of,
there's always a next level. Like, is there a bigger outlet that you want to get on if you've been doing local television and now you're ready to graduate to a national stage? Have you been speaking on smaller local stages and now it's time to actually travel internationally? Like, one of my clients literally got paid to go do 2 talks in Dubai. And I was like, hey, what tips did I give you that I need to be doing myself? Because I have not been paid to go to Dubai yet.
I love that. I love it. Now, do you do your own PR, or do you like?
That's so funny. Like, honestly, I feel like the cobbler's shoes sometimes, because I'm like, I do it for everybody, but not myself. And that was what I really learned the hard way when I started my business in 2015, because I launched a course, didn't do my own PR. And I was like, oh, right. I didn't make sure that enough people knew about this. So I think one of the things that's also worth sharing is what I love about PR. Like, you have to invest in it in the beginning. It's not a 6 weeks to 6 figures kind of thing. It's for you if you're in for the long haul. But now I'm at a point where it's reactive. So I don't actually, like, not to humble brag, but here we go. I don't have to spend a lot of time pitching live stages to speak on. I already had 2 requests in my inbox this week. Don't spend a lot of time pitching podcasts. I have a lot of people emailing me. So it's nice to get to a reactive level. So in the beginning, you are going to start out sending those emails, making those requests. And as you show up more, people will start filling your inboxes saying, hey, I saw you on TV. Are you available for this podcast? Like, one of my clients, the one who did the challenge, who booked CNBC in 5 days, she got an email saying, hey, saw your segment on CNBC. We have a group. We'd love to know if you're available to come speak and let us know what your rates are.
I love that. And Lisa, you bring up such a good point, because what I like to say is, like, media begets media, money begets money. Like, it's only one. Like, you only need one, you know?
That is very literally what I say all the time. Like, media begets more media. When you get one hit, they all just start rolling in. So one more story that I want to share, and, you know, I'm not in a rush. I'm happy to keep sharing. But I had a client who was on a national morning news show called Canada AM. And after they finished their segment, a radio producer in the same city was watching that, and he called their office and was like, saw the doctors on the news. Are they available for a radio interview? Also, a magazine editor saw that and was like, we would love to have this actually in print. Could they write an article for the magazine? 6 years later, they still have a monthly column in there. They're not paying for this at all. It just all keeps rolling over and rolling over. So it's probably worth the quick investment to learn how to do it and then have everything start flowing your way.
100%. And that's why you guys need to go take her workshop. And like, and once you have that, like, that one sheeter, I mean, that's huge. And you, like, honestly, you've dropped so many nuggets right now that I can't even imagine, like, what your workshop is going to be like, you know, and then also how you serve people. Like, you know, I was part of one of your challenges, and I don't even know, I probably got media off of it, you know, like podcast interviews, because I'm always being asked, and I love it because, like, yeah, you're right. Like, the more visible you are, the more people see you, and then they're like, oh, like, she talks on this or that, you know, or I've seen her there, you know. So I love that. I love that you say, like, because visibility is, I think it's everything, you know.
It is. And I think, you know, the huge kind of difference that I want to clear up is, like, there's one thing to say, hey, look at me, I'm great, I'm awesome. Yeah. It's another thing to have an outlet say, hey, look at her, look at them, look at him. They're great, they're awesome. You should look into their stuff. So you want to get those third-party endorsements so you're not constantly feeling like you're trying to sell people how great you are. You have other people advocating for you.
Yeah, exactly. So you work with people. So you work with people in the course. Do you, like, what other services do you still work with people one-on-one? Like, what is your?
Yeah, so I pretty much have narrowed down to just 2 things now. So you're either in it for a quickie or you're in it for the long haul. So I have my 30-day accelerator program, and this is like a done-for-you service where you come in and work with me and my team for 30 days. We're going to fast forward the process and do the pitching on your behalf, find the right places for you to be seen. But what I love about that program is there's a teaching component. So I'll spend 2 sessions with you one-on-one sharing, number 1, here's how we found the right places, the contacts, email addresses. We record it so that you can actually go back, lather, rinse, and repeat it. And the second session is where I teach you, here's how we wrote this email asking for this opportunity. So, and you're going to have the Google Docs. So I love that after a 30-day accelerator program, I have a ton of clients come back and say, that was awesome. Don't want to spend my time doing it, so just do another one for me. But for those people who are like, you know what, I'm just getting started, I have to manage a budget, they know how to lather, rinse, and repeat the formula, and now they have something they can pay off over and over and over again. So that's kind of like the quickie. If you have a launch or you want to start getting out there now, that's the fast way. And then otherwise, for the people who've kind of been in this for the long haul and they're like, you know what, I want to get on stages, magazines, podcasts, television, like I want it all coming to me. That's where I have a 12-month program called Buzzworthy, buzzworthyprogram.com. And that's where over 12 months, I teach you everything you need to know, and you literally never need to hire a publicist again.
Oh my gosh, Lisa. Amazing, amazing. Guys, you have to check her out. Everyone, please check her out. She is amazing. Anything else you want to kind of leave us with? Any like last thoughts or?
Man, I always want to leave on something, because it doesn't get to be just information. It really gets to create transformation. So I think, I think the first thing that you could actually, here's the thing that I want people to do. If you know you want to get out there in more places, but you're not sure, should I be on website? Should I be on magazine? Should I be on podcasts? I'm sorry to drop all these links, but I love to give as much as possible. I want people to take my quiz. Like, let's go back to being like 13 years old reading Cosmo. I have a quiz called Uncover the Best Way to Get the Word Out About Your Coaching Business. Answer a few simple questions, and I will tell you if you should be on television, radio, magazines, whatever. I'll do the guesswork, and I'll also send you a video on how to get started. So for anyone who wants to take that, simply head to lisasimonerichards.com/quiz. My name, lisasimonerichards.com/quiz, and then it'll give you the answer for you and get you started.
Amazing. And is the link in your bio on the Instagram? Like,
it's not, but we can drop it in the chat, and if I can figure out how to make this phone stay up and not fall over, I would type it in as well. But we can
I'll put it in the I'll put it in the comments, so it's like
thank you,
so people can kind of go in there.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh, Lisa, you are amazing. Guys, do you know why I wanted to bring her on? She is absolutely amazing. When you were interviewing me, I was like learning things. I was like, okay, I have to have this woman on. And so I want to just thank you. You are so good at what you do, and I cannot say enough about you. Love you so much. And,
oh my God.
Yeah, thank you so much for like your time and your energy and these amazing tips. It's going to help someone. And I always say, like, watch this a couple times, because you went quick and you just dropped gems like boom, 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 boom. And people like, should be taking notes, or should have taken notes.
Sorry, guys. I'm such an energizer buddy. I'm always like spitting out as much as I can as fast as possible.
No, but that's right. It's fast, and like that's how the media works.
Fast and easy, like what Mom said not to do.
Yeah, be ready. Like, get ready. And so if you're not ready, like, rewatch this again. I always tell people, even like if people don't drop like quote unquote tips, like rewatch it anyway, because you hear things differently. It's so good. So Lisa, thank you so much. And
thanks.
guys, I'm gonna drop
so fun.
Yeah, in the bio, and check her out. And yeah, so February 8th, right? Is
February 8th. You got it.
Okay, great. All right, my love. So we'll talk soon, and thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're watching
live.
thank
you for tuning in. Hey, Andre. Hey, Andrew.
Yeah, there's so many people here. I know I haven't been looking at the audience at all. I'm so sorry, guys. But thank you guys for tuning in, and thank you, Lisa, once again. And we'll talk soon.
Thanks, love. This was fun. Have a good night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.